continue my discussion about feedback, and especially related to language learning, teaching of English as an additional or foreign language, right, in classrooms, and speaking from my experience here in Brazil as a teacher and teacher trainer. So what I would like to focus on here is the whole issue about the types of feedback. We've been talking a lot about, at least in language learning here, language teaching here, in some schools, right, where there's a focus on what they call communicative approach to teaching and to learning a language, right? There's a lot of focus on the types of feedback you give to students. And after a little bit more thought about it, I mean, this is my view. It's a bit more, let's say, subjective, that feedback. Let me talk about feedback. It doesn't really matter. There are lots of names we give to it: positive feedback, negative feedback, constructive feedback, and so on and so forth. But feedback, I mean, all in all, it should be something that is supposed to help. So, of course, it would receive the names of, like, I think the person who is on the end, on the receiving end of the feedback, would see it as being positive, negative, critical, constructive, pejorative, etc. Yeah? They would add names to it, add labels to it. But if you have good intentions, of course, you always will try to help the other person improve. But as they say, hell is paved with good intentions. We know that too. So of course, we want to make the difference between something very subjective, something very, in the air. It's not. We don't have any specific criteria to give the feedback. So a lot of times when somebody asks us, "So what do we think?" we would probably give a very, very personal view, or our impressions. But I think we have to consider feedback now based on specific criteria, right? And also what we need to work on is the focus of the feedback. I think that is the main point, and that's what I want to drive home now in this last minute or so, is that the feedback should be focusing on something specific, so that way it can be more helpful. So if you are, in this case, if we're learning a language and we get to the stage where we need to practice the use of a new grammar form or new vocabulary, we need to mention or make students clear on the fact that we're going to give them feedback on how well they used the language they just learned, how well they performed, how accurate they were. If not, or if it's something else, there's another issue. Let's say we are just giving them some time to practice, to become more fluent, then we need to also specify to students that, okay, I'm going to be evaluating you on how well you were able to get your point across, right? Because in this case, you need to talk to each other, and I want to see how well, what strategies you used to convince your partner of a certain decision, or how well you made your point clear. You were able to disagree, but politely, and making sure that you included your colleagues' comments or ideas. Okay, so I think the main thing, as I said, is the focus. And once we have the focus clear in our minds, the focus should be clear to our students as well. And I think then everybody's going to be able to benefit from this. So if this has been useful, I would love to hear from you all what you think about this, what your initial reactions or ideas about what I'm talking about here when it comes to giving feedback and the importance of the focus, not necessarily the importance of the type of feedback, but what it aims to achieve and how it's going to help our students in the long run. So that's all for now. Hit me up on social media if you want, and we can talk more about this. Thank you.